Governor, good to be with you. It occurs to me that, politicians thrive off the live audience, and in this case, speakers had to get along with just speaking to a camera, often alone.
It actually allowed it to be more intimate and more authentic, especially in dealing with some pretty heavy, weighty life and death choices that we have to make right now. That live audience, for all of its energy, Robert, can be tricky when you're the person at the podium addressing it. Some of those moments, that boy Braden Harrington. I mean, that was a riveting little bit of television that you could never have done in a huge broad setting. The very close up moments with President Obama's very tough message. I mean, that was akin to a fireside chat. I think all of the messaging that came out of it was very strong.
You talked to us about some deep subjects. Racial division has surfaced in the last several months as a result of a lot of factors.
When he talked about the four challenges that we're facing all simultaneously, the threat of pandemic, he talked about climate change, he talked about the economy, and he also talked about the racial divisions in our country, which have been laid bare. But on an emotional level, he also acknowledged, I think, through his own personal story, the very real grief that a lot of Americans feel that they have somehow lost something that was theirs. And that is, I believe, the ability to believe that tomorrow can and will be better for your own family, for your own kids, and for your grandkids.
So what major policy changes do you envision based on what you heard and provided Biden-Harris win the election?
I think you're going to see some very rapid shifts, certainly in the emergency management of this pandemic. I think you will also see the Joe Biden that managed and implemented, really, the Recovery and Reinvestment Act. I think you will see that collaborative leader and that presidential leadership in the center of that administrative engine of government in a way that we haven't in a long time.
I consider you one of my favorite Irish-American intellectuals.
Please don't call me an intellectual.
I can't miss an opportunity to talk about the Vice President's direct appeal to your community with a quote from Irish poet Seamus Heaney. Can you talk about what that meant to you?
Yeah, the cure of Troy. I've known Vice President Biden many years, and I know that poem is near and dear to him, as it is to many Irish people or lovers of poetry or lovers of humanity. From an Irish perspective, I mean, it is that combination of the darkness and the light, the truth that, in the end, the world will break your heart, but also in America, there is no end. There's always a yet. There's always a tomorrow.
Thanks, Governor. Enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you, Robert.